Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Unscripted, truly unscripted because we literally have nothing planned with your host Mikey.
Nothing planned. And Danny, well, I
Yay.
mean, that's how it goes.
Right.
Some podcasts are just not planned, and then
Yeah,
we should just go with the flow, you
we
know.
should. Yeah, I feel like lately, like with the title Unscripted, like obviously it wasn't scripted, but we usually have some rough ideas of what we wanted to talk about. But this time it truly is unscripted with no plot in mind so far. So,
Yeah, and we don't have to have a plot. I think
yeah.
it's just, it's just talking about what's on our minds, and then I
Mhm.
don't know, maybe once we get enough of an audience, they can tell us what they want to hear more about, and then we can talk about that.
Exactly. So, here we go.
What's been on your mind lately, Mikey?
Ooh, what's been on my mind? Honestly, just like trying to work out as much as I can. I'm constantly thinking about, am I eating enough protein? Am I also balancing my budget like relatively okay? It's like just like basic things of like dealing with life. Yeah, because lately I've been trying to work out for like, 5 days a week. And then use the weekend to rest, but also just trying to stay like regimented because I feel like, I don't know, it gives me a sense of control. Um,
Wait, now I'm curious, what sort of workouts are you doing?
so I
Yeah.
organize it in a spreadsheet and there's like
Damn, you would organize it in a
I
spreadsheet.
would. So I have like, a series of 12 workouts, and my principle for exercising is every time I, go to the gym, I always have to hit at least, or not at least, just like six workouts like every single time. And they're like relatively
Wow.
simple, and like not terribly involved, but like, so for instance, like yeah, and I would alternate like between six and six, like of the 12 to like 15 that I have planned out. So the first one is lat pull down, just you sit and pull down the bar. There's bench press, tricep pulls, leg raises, crunches, shoulder shrugs, disc halos, deltoid raises, front plate raises, rows, pull-ups, bicep curls, um, squats, obliques. Um, yeah, I don't know the official names for these, but it makes sense in my head. And yeah.
Do you just choose a random set of six, or do you do like a push-pull day?
So usually I wish I were more organized with like push pull, but I typically just choose, well, it actually was dependent on the very first workout that I did because the first six meant that I had to do like that I did implied that I had to do the other six on the next day. And then I kind of
Mm.
stabilized into this alternating routine between the two. Um so yeah, I've been tracking pretty much like the weight that I've been able to lift, and hopefully like being able to slowly increase it and see like, progress through, yeah, just like the metrics that I've been recording. And I don't know, to a certain extent, I'm like, is this a little bit too excessive or obsessive and frivolous? But at the same time, I'm like, okay, like if I have the energy to track it and see what
No,
happens.
I think you should. I mean, I think tracking it is the only way that you know that you're progressing.
Mhm.
How many reps do you do of how many sets and how many reps of each set?
Oh, so I do like three sets of 10 typically for most things that are easy enough. And then for those that are harder, I would do like, I don't know, like three sets of five instead. So yeah, for instance, pull-ups, I would do like five sets of six because I can't do like 10 pull-ups in one go. So I would only,
Mhm.
that's crazy. Anyway, um,
No, you should give yourself a thumbs up.
I should. Um, Yeah. Um, so pull-ups like five
Well,
by six. When I do like crunches, usually like 2 by 15 is like my preferred. Because like I feel like 10 is a little bit too little and like 20 is a bit too much. So I kind of like two sets of 15 is like a pretty comfortable.
oh yeah, I don't ever do crunches because I'm like, I'll just work out abs later, and then I never work out abs.
I feel like abs are the easiest ones to hit for me because it's just like I don't know. It doesn't take all that much energy out of my
Mm,
bandwidth. I feel like the
yeah,
ones that do take the most are definitely like the shoulder ones, which are like
yeah.
pull-ups and
I just tell myself, I'll just take a yoga or a Pilates class,
mm,
and that will help with my core.
hmm.
And so I'm gonna skip abs when I do
Yeah,
like strength training.
for sure.
How much weight can you do for a squat?
Oh, squats. I don't typically do squats because every day in San Francisco is leg day. When you're walking up
Yeah,
those hills.
it's a lot of walking, yeah,
Oh
and
my
it's
God, it's
hilly.
crazy. Hmm.
Better if you apparently uh biking long distance is great for your
Hmm.
squat. Like it's like as good as squats, I think I heard someone say.
Mm. Yeah, I think so. But I feel like I wouldn't incorporate squats into my workout routine, given that I have all of these other ones that I want to like prioritize. And
What
I feel
about your bench press? How much can you do now?
including the bar or excluding the bar?
What do you mean?
Okay, so the bar is like 45 pounds, and then
Yeah,
like the discs on either side. I don't know how people actually count it. Um, but like
it's with the bar because
with
the
the
bar
bar.
it's all
Okay.
weight. Yeah.
Yeah. So I used to be able to do like 135, but I've gotten weaker as I'm only starting to get back into working out. But yeah, right now I'm sitting at like between 100 and 115. So
I think that's very good. Yeah, I also used to be able to do well, the 135 was never I was never stable at 135. Which is
yeah,
kind of sad because I know people who like, oh, like that's so easy. Like I could do 245 pounds on each 45, yeah, 240 pounds on each side.
yeah,
So that's like what, 180,
right.
225.
Hmm.
But
Something like that.
it's a lot.
It is a lot. And I also think that like perhaps like you and I probably have like a relatively fast metabolism. Therefore, like in order to get to that level of strength, we would have to eat either twice as much food or like twice as much protein, which honestly for me I feel like is not sustainable. Like I'm not really here for the
I
aesthetic
just want
of
someone to
like
tell me how much I need to eat. I just like I can't seem to figure it out on my own.
fair enough. Yeah. I just eat when I'm hungry, but I also feel like that's not like the best
I know. I don't
way.
think that's like because
Um,
like because like yeah, I've asked. I know you hate this. I've asked ChatGPT too, and it's like when you're sort of professionally bodybuilding, it's hard to use natural like signals from your body. You
yeah.
kind of have to like ignore it a little bit, which is always veering into that unhealthy realm
Hmm.
because like it's you're always trying to go like a little bit excessive or a little bit under, like when you're
Yeah.
bulking and when you're cutting.
Yeah.
And so there is a little bit of like needing to put the blinders on to
For
what your
sure.
body's naturally telling you to do.
The thing with that is I feel like it inherently goes against the grain of my own value system of like wanting to enjoy the pleasures of eating without feeling like I'm forcing myself to eat less or more than what I want to. And I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
mean,
at some
bodybuilding is
point,
a very unnatural sport. Like it to a
yeah.
certain extent, like, yeah.
Yeah, so I think like, enjoying food is definitely like a huge part of my well-being. And I'm not saying that you can't enjoy food like while on a bodybuilding regimen, but I
Hmm.
just feel like where's the balance? And that's kind of what I'm trying to find. Like if my body naturally wants to be a certain weight or like a certain size, I'm not gonna like push it to, like add an additional 20 pounds of muscle, like for the sake of aesthetics or and whatnot, but rather, I don't know, I just want to do it so that I feel good. Um,
I think
well,
that's a healthy balance to
yeah,
strike.
yeah,
I mean, I'll be honest, I would, if I could do it to like optimize things, I would, but I just think it's too hard for me at this point in my life.
fair, fair enough.
Oh, it really is. It really is.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but that's good. Okay, so bench press. I kind of really like the compound movements. I like the pull up or the lat pull down. I like the bench press.
Hmm.
I like the bent over row, which is sort of like a vertical pull.
Is
And
that when
then
you like are you bending over with like just like your body or are you using the assistance of a chair?
um I think you can like there's like different variations, but the idea is really I mean you can also be just like sitting and pulling like um
Hmm.
horizontally.
Right.
It's just like yeah, it's just a different direction of pull. There's like, pulling up,
Hmm.
pulling horizontally,
Hmm.
and then some people do the pulling down, but I heard that's not great for your shoulders, so I don't do that.
Yeah. What I also heard was bad for your shoulders is tricep dips because they put a lot of like strain on your rotator cuff.
Interesting.
Um, but
Interesting.
I think there's a proper way to do it, but I feel like it's hard to actually get it such that you're not. But anyway, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, yeah, it's hard. I mean, well, body weight is just like difficult. Like, I
Yeah.
just, yeah, that's always been because you can't like ramp. I guess you can with the assisted tricep dips or whatever,
Right.
but have that machine. Just usually go to like a park if I want to do tricep dips and go on
Yeah,
the playground.
yeah. No, it's been great because I think in terms of like free facilities, SF has a lot of, yeah, like just recreational facilities that are tax funded and you don't really have to pay for a gym membership unless you're kind of like wanting to join it for the social aspect, which, a lot of
Yeah,
people
no, I
do.
get that.
I'm not there for that, at least at this point in my career in life. So,
Oh, my friend upgraded his Equinox memberships to the one in Hudson Yards, which is super expensive.
mhm,
Um, and I had a conversation with him. I was like, what are your thoughts on like fire and, this maybe being detrimental to that? And he's like, well, it inspires me to work out. That's like
mhm.
more important to me.
Yeah.
And I have specific like career goals I want to hit, and I think this will help me do that if I feel good, if I look good.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, that's an interesting perspective.
For sure. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
very different. Um,
Mhm.
he's also more comfortable with using medication to treat things like depression and anxiety and things like that, which I don't know, I'm more of a naturopathic sort of guy, I guess.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I know,
I'm
I
somewhere
know.
in between, in terms of like mental health treatment. I mean
Wait,
like,
are you comfortable sharing if you take any
yeah,
medication?
yeah. I'm comfortable sharing my past history with medication.
I've never taken any. Like,
Okay. Fair.
like, fun fact, apparently everyone in my analyst class was taking Adderall.
Well, I'm not surprised, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of students who are not, just in business schools, like, in every field have to a certain extent, even architecture, even biology, like I've known students everywhere who have taken.
I felt left out. I was like, where's like why wasn't I offered? Why wasn't I in the club?
Okay, there's a
Felt
lot of
discriminated upon, but whatever.
yeah, there's a lot of myths around the usage of Adderall and its effects and whether or not that aligns with reality. At the end of the day, I think it's a stimulant medication that is very similar to caffeine. Like it just gives you that kind of like, right? And for people with ADHD, it definitely helps. Like, at least the studies have shown that it has helped people with ADHD, like to, garner their attention and focus like better. But for regular people, not the myth, but like I don't know if I fully believe it or if I like am fully like drinking the Kool-Aid, but it's often stated that pe regular people who don't have like attention deficit disorders, like who take Adderall, like don't see a measurable effect on their performance. Now,
I feel like there's like a huge zone of like
yeah,
benefit. Yeah, I do feel like for some people who are fine without, like it could help like pretty meaningfully.
for sure. Um,
Um, but I like it's anecdotal. Like I obviously know medical evidence. I mean,
yeah,
it's just weird all these drugs, that are being so made so accessible to people these
yes,
days. And who knows, like maybe it is helpful for them, maybe it's not.
right,
But, I mean, like I guess in certain career fields where, you're like stacked upon like you're stack ranked effectively, like if you're
yeah,
able to get ahead a little bit other versus others, it's like can make a pretty significant difference in your financial outcomes later in life.
for
Um,
sure. However, Okay, that is also not to mention the whole host of medical issues that, is not mentioned with people who, are taking Adderall either for psychiatric purposes or whatnot. It causes
Hmm.
a lot of cavities if you didn't know.
Oh
Uh,
my God, cat in your
yes,
teeth?
in your teeth, cavities. The reason why,
Parquet.
yeah. So this is actually super interesting, and I didn't know this before until my what is it, dentist had told me about this. Apparently, Adderall, because it's a stimulant medication, kind of like caffeine, it restricts the production of saliva. And what happens there is like when you have no saliva, you have no remineralization of the teeth, and it allows bacteria to more easily like produce acids that dissolve like your teeth.
Yeah.
Um, and because like, when you're stimulated, like your mouth gets dry, like when you're on caffeine, when you're on Adderall, and that is really harmful for, I guess, your overall oral health because your teeth are not getting its usual scheduled dosage of minerals that your
Saliva.
saliva naturally produces. And there's a dentist influencer that I follow who has, shares a lot of truths about, practicing like dentistry. And she's stated that, she can immediately tell when, like from the x-rays, when kids have been put on like stimulant medication and when kids have not. And usually what happens is that they have a lot of intradental cavities from just like them constantly being medicated, which is great for their focus and their attention, but at the same time, it's causing all of these. It's like something has to give. There's give and take, and what gives is your teeth. At the expense of, right? Like
Yeah.
you get more
That's
attention at the
interesting.
expense of your teeth, which is like a really interesting dynamic that I'm kind of like noticing with a lot of medication, it's like you gain something, but then you kind of have to give up something else in order to maintain, right? Like how much is your attention worth it? And that's also not to say that there aren't ways to, protect your teeth like while you're on stimulant medication, which is like, but you have to take more careful measures to do so, like having a higher fluoride toothpaste or like um a higher fluoridated mouthwash in order to, yeah, like
Yeah,
compensate
like
for
I
the,
guess
yeah.
like flossing more often. I don't
Mhm.
know, like getting cleanings more often.
Yeah. Or like more frequent checkups if you're on
I
stimulant
think like
medication.
more than that though, I think it does make long-term changes to your like psyche as well. I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of these medications, particularly the ones that treat depression or anxiety or focus or even focus, I think they kind of like also make changes to your personality. They turn like I do feel like they sort of make people more sort of single-minded, like less
Absolutely.
able to think more three-dimensionally about things or
Yeah.
multi-dimensionally about things. And I find that maybe it's helpful in like a corporate environment in certain specific corporate environments where you need to be really
Mhm.
decisive, but I also feel like it is not very helpful in like maybe your personal life, maybe when you're managing relationships, complicated relationships.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Hmm.
it's interesting.
No, for sure. I think all of these things are true about medication. But I think that, it's not all necessarily negative in my point of view, where like there are certain times, certain environments when you kind of
Yeah,
like direly need this kind of like support in order to function the way that you do, or at least move you into a different headspace. But at
yeah,
the same time, like I think it's really important that, the medical profession discloses like all the different ways that the medication can affect you. But, there's also certainly problems.
yeah. I think they do. I mean, in that like big packet that you get every time you get a prescription, but I feel like most people don't read it. They're just like, oh, I'll just
Yeah,
take it, and if I feel weird, then I'll do something after.
for sure. Or
My
you don't
doctor will
start.
help, and then the doctor is also not that. I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, in my opinion, like a lot of doctors that I've seen are not very
Mhm.
invested in the care that they're giving.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's like a whole other can of worms to unpack. But in terms of just like, I think like, right, back to the, right, like antidepressants. I've taken them before, and I noticed that it has helped me through a very difficult period in my life. And there is definitely a time when I had to say, like, okay, enough is enough. Like, this has helped me thus far. I no longer need to be taking these. Like, I'm fine. But that's also ultimately for you to decide, you and your like provider to decide like when is appropriate for you, depending on how much you trust them and whatnot. And I think ultimately it boils down to Yeah, like your changing needs. But I don't think it's a permanent solution to something, especially if you're in a situation that's like outside of your control. For me, I was on antidepressants during, yeah, like when there was COVID, and school was online, and I was having a really hard time.
Oh, so never in high school, only in college.
Only in college when I really got hit with like
Yeah.
severe like depressive episodes from just not like having like a great support system, like when university was online and everyone was at home, and you obviously it's natural to get stir crazy when you're kind of like, yeah, like in the same place like day in and day out.
Do you feel like if you had more people around you, like a what do you call what do they call those COVID groups? Like
Hmm.
the quarantine groups
Oh
of
yeah.
like good friends, like you wouldn't have felt that way?
I think that definitely, yeah, would have been part of it. But I think there's other pressures on top of like, I did have contact with like some friends back then, but there was also like, the pressure of academic performance, and which a lot of it is like self-inflicted and at the same time socially like constructed as well, like these expectations for certain, metrics that you have to meet. So there's a lot of, I think, internal like psychological pressure. I
Hmm.
think it wasn't just me, like a lot of students at the time were going through like in undergrad. And yeah, I think it did necessitate a period where, we were not just me, but like a lot of people I was connected to were, trying to just find anything to like help us relieve ourselves of that existential dread and, not being able to live kind of like normally and feel less isolated. So I think antidepressants at the time were almost a band-aid solution to a larger social problem of like, what do you do when you can't really consistently feel connected to a sense of community? And I feel like you can only rely on that so long to kind of like not necessarily numb your feelings, but yeah,
Yeah,
there,
to cope with sort of lifestyle issues that's
yeah,
causing your ailment.
right.
I mean, yeah, that's tricky.
Hmm.
Um,
So,
well, and you said, well, did you get better only after the pandemic when maybe you went back
oh yeah, absolutely. I think
to class?
as soon as I got reconnected with like, my classmates and my community, did I then feel no, I hate to say like the word normal, but like I felt regulated. I felt calm.
Mm.
I no longer felt like the antidepressants really served a purpose, because it psychologically it did hit pretty hard during that period of time. And there were also a lot of side effects that came after like quitting the medication as well, which was like as much as it did benefit me, there was also everything's a double-edged sword, I feel like. After I had excessive night sweats, like because my nervous system was just like, oh my God, like I'm no longer used to this level of,
Oh my God, baseline anxiety.
it's not baseline anxiety at all. It's literally just like I wake up in a pool of sweat, like on the bed. And like there's no anxiety, it's just like, oh my God, like you could tell that your nervous system is just trying to like reorient itself. Um,
Okay,
so there's a whole
interesting.
period of like readjustment back to like being off of medication and whatnot. So
Was it like I wonder if it was just, okay,
yeah.
interesting. Yeah, like it's just weird that there's no understanding of like what's causing that.
Or I'm sure
Or,
there is like a medical understanding. It's just
hmm,
that like I'm just speaking from anecdotal experience that like when I quit my antidepressants because I no longer felt like I needed them, um yeah, like
yeah.
there were a lot of side effects that came after that. Even though I was like tapering off, like there was still kind of like, yeah.
This sort of reminds me talking about like the environmental causes,
Mhm.
how your environment can impact you.
Yeah.
Um, Sort of reminds me of this podcast that I was listening to about, do you know Angela Duckworth?
Oh yeah, she wrote the book Grit, right?
But then she came out with a new much anticipated follow-up called Situated.
Hmm.
And it's about how environmental design and situational psychology is also essential as grit, as perseverance in maintaining and enabling high performance.
Mm.
So yeah, it's sort of it's just kind of talking about it too, about how like there's some political connotations where like you think about your environment, your sort of like environmental influence on the individual is more of a sort of liberal way of thinking,
Hmm.
whereas grit and perseverance, it's more of coded as like conservative, like Republican
Hmm.
sort of
Yeah.
values,
Yeah,
at least in like popular culture.
for sure.
It's kind of like so it's an interesting marrying of the yin and the yang when it comes to like this sort of way of
Yeah.
thinking about how to excel.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Hmm. I don't know.
okay, some interesting like I think takeaways that I had.
Okay.
It's about proactively changing or taking steps to change like your environment
Hmm.
to influence your focus and productivity.
Sure.
So like moving your phone away
Yeah.
or spending time with people that are also high achievers and high performers that you can sort of get along with. Because I do feel like that's tricky because sometimes like I like find that some high performers and high achievers are kind of a little bit insufferable. But you know, you get the idea. Like find someone that you like that's also like high achiever, high performer.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
then what's this? What is that? Sorry, I'm noting down some notes. Um I guess try to understand or like try to not ruminate too much, but also try to look back at some point and understand how
Hmm.
you respond in different situations
Right.
and how your behavior can be harnessed
Hmm.
to conquer maybe certain temptations that you might have or certain bad habits,
Mm.
without needing to rely so much on willpower all the time.
Mm. For sure.
Yeah.
But I also think this book, I haven't read it, but it points to a larger topic of like, yeah, like, individualism versus collectivism. Is there somewhere in between where it's like, like you're not doing things just for the sake of your own achievement and greatness and whatnot, but are you also benefiting like the collective society? And then it also ties back to the topic of like, oh, are you right? Like, is your environment influencing you more versus like, is this like something that you wanted out of your own will? And it's like, where's the balance in between the two, and how much does it actually meet reality? Um, so I think, yeah, those are
Yeah.
interesting questions that,
It really is. I mean, I was thinking about also like my own environment and how that's shaped me and
yeah.
how I can shape it.
Hmm.
And, you know, it's also difficult. I mean, it's important to also realize that it's very difficult for certain people to shape their environments.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's no sort of easy way to just put yourself in a place where, you know, you have great close friends who are like high performers, high achievers, like
Uh-huh.
that where everything is, you know, perfectly well positioned for yourself to achieve whatever goals that you have.
Hmm.
I think the like rumination part is also really tricky as well.
Mm.
Like looking, I think like the podcast, like she had, there's a lot of conversation around a topic which I think I feel very strongly about, which is kind of like helping students in college understand what to do, like what areas of um, industry maybe they want to work in, or if what they want to do after school. And she points to how you know, every year from Harvard, there's a ton of students who go into management consulting,
Mm.
and that's like kind of an interesting like it's a curiosity. It's like, do all these students really want to do management consulting? Or like, is that really something that is highly sought after? And if they were exposed to more careers, more fields, would they have chosen differently? And I think the hypothesis is that probably they would. And so, you know, maybe there's a push to kind of expose students to different, at least I guess at Harvard, to different careers and different people in these industries well ahead of time, like so
Yeah,
that at least they have the opportunity to really dabble and sample and really try to understand, you know, what fields they might feel most comfortable in.
for
I think
sure.
it's a luxury that I did not have, I have to say.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like it could help a lot of people, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think having more exposure to people in different career paths is great, right? But like not just, exposure from like a salesy advertising point of view, but like genuine, like real conversations with people like who work in different industries and not just like, oh, this is what this industry is about. Like, but
Yeah.
does it get any deeper than like what are your day-to-day experiences and like,
Yeah, leverage that alumni network.
yeah,
Jeez.
right. So anyway, we have about a minute left in our podcast, but this is actually pretty interesting stuff that we touched upon, and I think there's more to
I
uh,
know.
expand
I need
on.
to make you wear a pizza hat next time.
Yeah, I'll have to think about that. Maybe not. Anyway, thanks guys for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. What were your experiences in, I guess, like, I don't know, college, and how did you
Well,
end up
how
in
do
a
you
career?
change your environment?
How
What
do
are
you
some
change
things
your
you do to change your environment to
right?
make yourself more productive,
Hmm.
more aligned with your sort of values and
Yeah. And how do you
your
take care of yourself? Let us
mm,
know. How do you maintain your well-being? These are all topics that I think we're all interested
yes.
in. So thanks so much, and
Thank you.
see you in the next
Bye.
one. Bye.